People who make that kind of criticism don't understand media. You use all the forms of communication. And that is my job. My job is to bring to the public the political understanding of issues. I get a sense from Jamaicans that that there are some Jamaicans who want to make excuses for government failure. This is an ultimate failure of the government.
But I think that, we have mounted a very credible and strong preparation and recovery strategy, and that will help us to ensure that our citizens who may now be facing hardship, they can have confidence that the government will be able to reach them immediately after the storm is past.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Well, in this one, I'm going to keep it spicy. We're going to go into just how much this government has really destroyed the fabric of trust in the people of Jamaica with their action and lack of action after Hurricane Melissa. I want you to sit back and listen very carefully to all of these clips. Check this out.
Start with the long-standing practice, which has really merged into a convention, whereby ministers or officials of the government ought properly to notify a sitting member of parliament before entering that MP's constituency to do any government-related issue. Now, that is not just a matter of parliamentary etiquette or constituency etiquette. It has its rationale in ensuring that as the duly elected representative of the people, you can be informed as to what is taking place in your constituency, so that by extension you can inform the people, so that you can make yourself available when the government officials are present to continue to represent and advocate on behalf of your residents and your constituents on issues that concern them most, issues that you might not have an opportunity in the parliament to raise because of the rules of the parliament. In a time like this, a very sensitive time when the most vulnerable are most at risk, we expect that practice would ensure that there is collaboration between the government officials and the elected representatives to ensure that persons can benefit. In my constituency, I have had to sit and watch as persons approach me the day before a visit to ask me if I heard that the Minister of Local Government is coming into the constituency. What is it that they're coming to do? Where can they meet them? And I have no answer to the questions because I was not notified in advance. In my constituency, first the Speaker of the House came, and perhaps she came in her capacity as an individual outside of the politics, but by her utterances, she made statements to suggest that she had visited communities, and every community that she visited, residents were not hopeful that they would get any assistance from me as the Member of Parliament. And I thought it was very unfortunate that in a time like this, we would seek to sow seeds of division and discord, because the Speaker of the House visited 3 communities, all strongholds of the Jamaica Labour Party. Not one PNP community was visited. Not one PNP community was given any of the care packages. In fact, the areas visited are well known: Rocky Hill, Santa Cruz, Burn Savannah, which is regarded by Edward Seaga as Little Tivoli. No reference was made to any other communities, but the Speaker formed the conclusion that every community she visited were not hopeful that they would get help to build back houses or do repairs. And I speak on that because she came into the community on Saturday morning, and by Saturday afternoon, the Minister of Local Government also visited the constituency. He distributed care packages, 60 to the sitting Jamaica Labour Party councillor, but I was not informed of his visit prior. The 3 other councillors who happened to be PNP councillors were also not informed of the Minister of Local Government's visit, and of course, they got no packages from the minister. Only the JLP council received packages. And finally, the Minister of Justice came on Friday, and my constituency office happened to be right next door to the venue that he visited. I was not notified in advance. Now, it doesn't matter. I see the statement from the minister, and labeling a statement as being contained or filled with lies or accusing me of lying does not make it untrue, and it does not change the facts. The facts remain, as I stated in my earlier video, that the minister came into the constituency without prior notice. The minister came into the constituency, handed out or distributed supplies. It doesn't matter if it was 7 or 77. The parliamentary practice, the convention still remains. It is improper to visit an MP's constituency without prior notice. That is a practice that has long been observed. And if it is that the government is now departing from that practice, then we need to know why. Because we're striving towards good governance. In England, they have codified that almost, in a sense, by having ministers' code, which set that out, that ministers of government must notify and not just give just passing notice on the day, but proper notice. Perhaps it is time for us to implement that here.
Which is suboptimal and needs to be improved. And that is how we have been attempting to approach this. Equity, transparency, and accountability are vital in the response to a disaster. We have heard numerous reports that political representatives of the governing party are being used to distribute government relief, taxpayer funded or donor funded through the government relief in ways which they have no legal or political standing constitutionally to play that role. Elected representatives must be included in things that are happening in their constituency so that they have information, so that their information can be shared with those who are operating on the ground, and you can work together with all stakeholders, including those who are representing the other side of the political fence, to get the best possible solution in a difficult situation. That is not happening. I have been bringing these incidents, as I hear of them, I have been bringing them to the attention of the Prime Minister through WhatsApp. He has not responded to me at all since last week, the Saturday before last, 10 days ago. I have not heard from him in response to any of my messages. So when the Minister of Information says that we have been communicating constantly, that is simply untrue. There has been a total cessation of any communication, certainly coming in my direction, from the Prime Minister. I note that there's a decision that has been taken to enact legislation to establish a new reconstruction agency, the acronym NARA, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, I believe, which will have wide powers to ensure that decisions can be taken very quickly when it comes to rebuilding, for example. I know that this is something that the private sector have been agitating for, and I see the need for it. But where you are circumventing normal procedures because the circumstances that we're in require that, it is all the more important that the thing be done in a transparent manner and that all critical stakeholders should be at the table when those decisions are being taken or being reviewed. The Prime Minister, in making that announcement, spoke of a broad-based governance structure for this new authority. I had called for something of that nature right after the hurricane. I wrote to him about it. However, I noticed that he, at his press conference when he announced it, he made no mention of the opposition being at the table. I don't know whether that omission was inadvertent or deliberate, but I can tell you that if we want Jamaica to get back on her feet as quickly as possible, if we want to avoid social dislocation, and if we want people to feel that the response is equitable, is well-designed, and is without political bias, it is important that critical stakeholders be at the table. And the opposition, with 28 seats in the parliament and almost the same number of votes in the last election as the government, should be part of that process. We are willing to serve, but we are currently being excluded. All of the committees that have been established under the cabinet, including the private sector committees and so on, the opposition is not present on any of those committees. The one concern I have as well.
While the government suffers the people, it is the people, the patriotic ones, like the one I'm about to show you, that is pulling the weight. Look at this.
Yes, Jamaica, I'm here in Rolandsfield. The Member of Parliament, Ms. Shaw, came on the program a few days ago and she bawled out, she cried, asking for the Minister of Agriculture to give the support of a generator, 2 or 3 generators for the farmers here, the poultry farmers here in Rolandsfield. The call was not answered, but we at Partner Draw, we care. As you're aware, we raised some funds. It was not enough to purchase 2 generators, but we start with 1. They say little is much when God is in it. So we have uploaded a 5,000 megawatt, I don't know, but a big generator. 5,000 megawatt generator for the farmers. They're going to be putting it into the community center. They're going to upload the fridge there, and they're going to work as a community. Make sure, say, my name safe. We meet her on the mission. I want young farmer. She name is Stevens. she's going to coordinate with them so that everybody get for them time to put them chicken in the fridge. You understand? We're not going to have no war over it. We're going to work together. We're going to make sure say everybody are right. I'm going to solicit some more to see that probably another week or so I can send. Me now come up here because it's far, it's not even far. Courtney, it's far. So when Miss Shaw I come to Parliament, hopefully by next week, I would have raised another 200,000 to get you another one. Alright? Yes. So we would have two can work the community center. Everybody can work it together. Yes. So I thank the donors, I thank everybody who made this possible. The children will be alright. Everybody up here, St. Thomas have to start feed the nation. Yes. St. Thomas have to start feed the nation because St. Elizabeth wipe out, Westmoreland wipe out, Trelawney wipe out, St. James wipe out, part of Manchester wipe out, St. Anne partially wipe out. So St. Thomas will decline. So St. Thomas will have to do its part.
Thank God for the charitable organization. But look, I just want to appeal to the government. Come on board with the elected officials. The elections are over. And this crisis allow you to think as a human and not as wear a hat as a political representative. It is that hard. There's a level of hardship that is in Western Jamaica. And I just want to say, look, make we ensure that over the next 4 weeks, we can ensure that we put as much Jamaicans back in their home with their roofs. We have to do that as a country. It can't continue, sir. Make we ensure we help some of these individuals, whether PNP or JLP, make we get together, government and opposition, working together in ensuring that we can serve the people of Western Westmoreland and the areas that have been damaged. Make we just stop all this foolishness now. You can't come in my constituency. And when you come in the constituencies, when you leave, you're going to tell me. Or when you reach, you're going to tell me. And then you're going to say, you know what? I'll leave 25 bags of food around the corner for you. It can't continue, sir. And then you're going to look for me now. And when I ask you the question, when I ask you, the 2 areas that you assess, how you assess those 2 areas? What are the criteria? What are the strategy? And then you turn to me and then you say to me, you know what? We have 2 staff members who live in those areas. Where is the strategy? How are we going to deal with all? I don't even think the government know what's going on. It's clear that the government didn't plan for this. They didn't plan for it. And I want every PNP and every JLP, every like-minded Jamaican, where you get in your car every week and you drive down, come a country. I want you to sit down and ask yourself the question, where is the government? What has the government done? I mean, I'm thankful that they said to me I can clean some of my roads, but some of the roads across the other 2 constituencies are not cleared as yet. And how can you say to a foreigner to do more than you as the government here, where the people elect and vote for and put in? And pay taxes. And me have to come here now at a press conference and I beg the government to come on board to play a role with us. The caretaker is not the MP. Nobody elected the caretaker. He's a private citizen. Nobody elect him or her. But it seems like the election is still going on. Enough is enough, man. It's time this foolishness cut out.
They might have to set up temporary structures for them in the meantime. But something must be done because people cannot leave the shelters without knowing where they're going. They would not be there if they had somewhere else to go. So this is a serious issue that we're facing as we speak. The distribution that we're seeing so far, and I spoke of it in Parliament a couple of weeks ago when helicopter went down in Landale and the members of the government in the area were called on to come because they were on spot before everybody else. I spoke of it, the Prime Minister dismissed what I said, but what I said was repeated twice since he spoke. And the most recent occurrence was this week when at an activist, a known JLP activist premises, that was where the distribution was done. And we have to look at how we're doing these things. I don't know who came up with that idea, who thought this would look like a good idea to have the food packages being distributed from that location, but it was obviously a terrible idea. And we're saying that if you're going to be distributing any package at all, there is a representative in the constituency that you should contact and should assist with the coordination of these things. Whenever we are going out to do distribution, everybody we see in the communities, we give packages. We're not looking at who is PNP or JLP or no P. We're in a crisis situation and the government needs to act in that way. I get the feeling that the government still doesn't realize that we are in a crisis. But the crisis we're in, we need to understand that people are people. We're Jamaicans and we must treat people as Jamaicans.
You know what's unfortunate? While Holness and his government play politics, what you're about to listen to is what's happening in real time to the people of Jamaica, suffering.
The man say, Marvin, him say, me I go tell you, him say, we did find a little bit of flour. A little bit of flour. I need and we bake it. Him say, we bake it flour. And him say, we found 1 egg. We had 1 egg. Today is Monday. He said that was the Sunday dinner. They haven't had anything to eat from morning. My God, yo. Whoa. When I hear a grown man, you know, a father, a husband, a man stand up in front of his wife, it's embarrassing, you know. Tell us, yo, God no. Jaja. Sorry people, but we have a, we just want to capture the moment, share to the know. Sorry if it's a little bit too much for some persons, but when he spoke about, when the man talk about the flour and the 1 egg, the flour and the 1 egg. They need a refrigerator. They need a refrigerator because I bought 10 pounds of chicken parts and carry. Them said them have probably ask the neighbor if they can put it up for them. They need a refrigerator. There was a fridge inside, but it now work. An old fridge. Rusty. If I look at the fridge, I know there's no way it could be working. I know that there are people out there without a roof and without food. But if somebody have one little fridge or something, we can give them. So they can at least drink some cool water. Please. When he saw the boxes that I was taking out of the trunk for him and his family, I could see the tears in his eyes. He said, Marvin. He said, Marvin, thank you. He said, I'm grateful. He said, I'm grateful. As a man, a husband, and a father, to watch your little 4-year-old daughter and your wife looking at you as the provider, and there's nothing you can give to them, and they're hungry, you will be forced to rob and thief to provide. And this is why me I beg the police, them in Jamaica, please have some compassion. Don't murder the youth them. Because a lot more people are going through this. Them don't want to thief, but them are going to thief. No murder them. If them not kill nobody, no murder them. Please. Me I beg you no. No murder them. Please, for the love of God, no murder on the brothers and on sisters. Try if you understand, lock them up. Make them go to jail if they go to jail. At least they will get little free food. We not put no gunshot in them head like that. It's wrong. It's wrong on every level. Father God. Judge.
To the people of Eastern Hanover, I see you. I have walked through your communities. I have witnessed your suffering and your remarkable resilience. You elected me to fight for you, and I will not stop fighting until you receive the help you deserve and the dignity you are owed as a citizen of Jamaica. I want to share stories, and these are not just stories, but things that I've seen with my own eyes.
I witnessed the previous Member of Parliament, Dave Brown, driving through my community with the same care packages that the government gave me, only 250 care packages, 5 tarps, and 50 cases of water. To date, that is all that I have received. Now, when a previous Member of Parliament drives through communities like Paddington, Cocoon, Claremont, Retrieve, Cascade, Ponside, it cannot be 250 care packages that he received. I am asking the government. Government had an opportunity to be great, to look good. After the hurricane, I reached out to JLP caretakers. I left messages for them, and I assured them that whatever relief I receive as Member of Parliament will be shared with them. I did not receive much, unfortunately. Where the assessment is concerned, I sent out a schedule 2 days ago on a community group. It is a very touchy topic, but the government is playing politics. When the Ministry of Labour and Social Security goes to Axandas, 2 days. Axandas is a tiny community in Chester Castle Division, and areas like Horton Grove that are 5 times the size of Axandas, still no visits. Tell me there is no politics involved.
Certainly we can't just move them without making provision for them to stay elsewhere. In terms of emergency evacuation and shelter, housing of these persons, we have not seen any of those tents that are supposedly in the country that should be made available. I'm told that it was said in the Senate on Friday that tents went to Dayton Campbell, unless there is another Dayton Campbell that represents somewhere in Jamaica. It's certainly not this one. I have not been made aware of any tents. And I want to be on record as saying, I will never support moving out the persons out of the shelter unless we make provision for them. I will block it myself personally. That is inhumane, and we have to do better. So yes, we want the schools to open, but we must make adequate provision before we move the persons out of the shelters.
Ball out! Whoa, yo, yo, yo. We need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament.
The residents. The response has been inadequate, delayed, and sometimes even inappropriate in my mind. And I say this because one would expect that coming out of a hurricane of this magnitude, that having made landfall in the constituency, that would have seen mobilization of government ministries, departments, and agencies to that area, and intervention being made to deal with the issues confronting the people. I want to thank, though, members of the private sector, the private companies, private individuals, non-governmental organizations, including GEM Foundation, Samaritan's Purse, World Central Kitchen, Mercy Chefs. Had it not been for some of these groups, I don't know what would have happened to the residents of Eastern Westmoreland, because they have stepped in a big way to ensure that some of the things that are needed have been done thus far. We benefited from a visit of some of the CARICOM leaders, and President Ali out of Guyana committed to doing 200 roofs for some of the affected residents between Bluefields and White House. And in putting together the meeting, to that, when the JDF and Ministry of Labour and ODPEM called the meeting, they said they wanted to welcome the 2 members of parliament, in which the government is inserting their political operatives in the response mechanism and bypassing, circumventing the elected officials. I represent all of the constituents of Eastern Westmoreland. I have absolutely no interest in how they voted. This is a humanitarian crisis. It is not a political matter. And as elected officials, we have to be involved and consulted in the process, because we know the communities, we know the areas, we know the people. Even in relation to the distribution of aid, to just have the JDF alone going into a community is not sufficient, because they won't know the lay of the land, they won't know the residents, and as such, that has left a lot of gaps. So,
what about generators for the school? What about the several generators that I heard were donated? Can't the schools in Western Hanover be given generators to assist them with their refrigerators for storage so that they can provide for their students. While we are giving out these care packages, there's concern about where am I going to live? So yes, you feed me for a week or two. Where are we going to live? No roof, no house. We have gotten a location for housing. As my colleague MP stated, who do you decide? How do you decide? I see caretakers coming in. I want to go back to the packages. I see caretakers giving out packages. I see JLP operatives in the constituency giving out packages. I see state ministers coming in, giving out packages. What is lacking is communication and coordination. I urge the government to set up some kind of centralized hub that disseminates information on a regular basis, either through a WhatsApp channel, through regular press briefings. Let us know what exactly is being distributed and to who. As an elected representative, I'm on the ground. I have councillors. They know the space. They know who are the persons being damaged. Utilize them. Utilize us. Utilize the community leaders. We see NGOs, we see JDF, we see caretakers, we see state ministers. We see them coming with packages. We know the space. Talk to us. So we need a communication. We need a coordinated way and not a hodgepodge, patchy way of distribution. These are lives and livelihoods we're playing with. These are families.
We have mounted a very credible and strong preparation and recovery strategy, and that will help us to ensure that our citizens who may now be facing hardship, they can have confidence that the government will be able to reach them immediately after the storm is passed. Immediately.
Emotional damage. Embarrassing.
He needs some milk.